In the last episode, my companions and I were reeling from the aftermath of our last trial, struggling to come to terms with the revelations about the Archon and the relic. The enigmatic transmission from the unknown Order ally had injected a dose of hope and determination into our battered group, and we knew we had to press on. We set our sights on finding the lost city deep within Aetheria's underworld, where an ancient artifact was said to hold the secrets of the relic and the Archon's true intentions. As I stood at the edge of our makeshift camp, gazing out into the dark expanse of the underworld, I felt the weight of our quest settling onto my shoulders. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay, and the flickering torches cast eerie shadows on the walls of the cavern. Elara approached me, her eyes etched with concern. Elara's grip on my arm tightened. "We've lost so much already, Alex. Are you sure this is the right path?" I took a deep breath, feeling the familiar ache in my chest. "We have to try, Elara. We owe it to ourselves, to Kael, and to the people of Aetheria." That transmission was our only lead, and I believe it. Elara's gaze lingered on mine, searching for reassurance. "All right, I trust you." As we prepared to move out, a low rumble shook the ground beneath our feet. The sound grew louder, and I could feel the vibrations intensifying. "What's happening?" someone shouted. I scanned the horizon, my heart racing. "It's an earthquake, or something worse. We need to get out of here, now!" The ground cracked open, revealing a chasm that seemed to swallow the light around us. "No, no, no!" Elara cried, her voice lost in the growing din. In that moment, I knew our journey had just become a fight for survival. "We're going in," I yelled above the roar, grabbing Elara's hand. "We'll find a way across." The world around us dissolved into chaos as we plunged into the unknown. Previously, the earthquake had torn through our makeshift camp, sending us tumbling into the chasm that had suddenly opened up beneath our feet. Elara's hand was still clutched in mine as we fell, the world around us a blur of darkness and chaos. We had managed to grab onto a rocky outcropping, halting our descent into the abyss, but the ground continued to shudder and convulse around us. As I looked up, I saw Kael's vengeful specter begin to stir, its presence amplified by the turmoil. Elara's eyes were wide with fear, her grip on my arm like a vice. I knew I had to act fast to keep us from being consumed by the chaos. With a surge of adrenaline, I pulled us up and over the edge, back onto solid ground. We collapsed onto the rocky floor, gasping for breath. The earthquake showed no signs of abating, and I knew we had to keep moving if we were going to survive. As we stumbled forward, the ground shuddering beneath our feet, I spotted a dark opening in the distance, a cave mouth partially hidden by the swirling dust and debris. I yanked Elara towards it, and we dove inside just as a massive boulder crashed to the ground mere feet away. We huddled together in the darkness, waiting for the earthquake to pass. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and ozone. As the tremors slowly began to subside, I realized that we weren't alone in the cave. A faint glow emanated from deeper within the tunnel, casting flickering shadows on the walls. I exchanged a cautious glance with Elara, and we began to move cautiously towards the light. As we rounded a bend in the tunnel, we found ourselves face to face with a figure huddled beside a small fire. It was a young woman, her skin deathly pale, her eyes sunken with exhaustion. But as she looked up at us, a spark of determination flared to life. "Welcome, travelers," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I've been waiting for you. My name is Lyra. I've been trapped down here for I don't know how long, but I think I can help you find what you're looking for." Elara's grip on my arm tightened, and I could sense her wariness. But I saw something in Lyra's eyes that gave me hope, a spark of resilience, of determination, and I knew that we needed all the help we could get if we were going to survive this journey. "What do you know about the lost city?" I asked, my voice low and urgent. Lyra's gaze locked onto mine, and I saw a glint of knowledge there. "I know the way," she said, her voice firm. "But it's not going to be easy. we'll have to face things that lurk in the darkness, and I'm not sure if I can trust you." I hesitated, unsure of how to respond. But then I remembered the transmission from the unknown Order ally and the hope it had given us. I looked at Elara and saw the same determination reflected back at me. "We're not going to hurt you," I said, my voice firm. "We're on a mission to stop the Archon and uncover the secrets of the relic. Can you help us?" Lyra's gaze lingered on mine, and then she nodded. "I can help you," she said, "but you have to promise me one thing. You have to promise me that you'll help me find my sister. She's down here somewhere, and I need your help to find her." I exchanged a glance with Elara and then nodded. "We promise," I said. "We'll help you find your sister, but you have to help us find the lost city." Lyra's face lit up with a small smile, and she nodded. "Deal," she said, as we huddled around the fire, listening to Lyra's story and planning our next move. I felt a sense of hope rising up within me. We had just gained a new ally and a new lead on our quest, and I knew that with Lyra's help, we might just have a chance to succeed where we had failed before. But as we prepared to set out into the unknown, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. I glanced around the cave, but saw nothing. Still, the feeling persisted. And then, just as we were about to leave, I heard it, a faint rustling sound coming from the depths of the cave. It was a low, menacing sound, and it sent a shiver down my spine. "What was that?" Elara whispered, her eyes wide with fear. I looked at Lyra and saw a flicker of concern in her eyes. "I don't know," she said, "but I think we're about to find out." As we stepped out into the darkness, the rustling sound grew louder, and I knew that we were in for a fight. But I also knew that we had each other and that together we could face whatever lay ahead. And with that thought, I felt a surge of determination and hope, and we plunged into the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Previously, we had barely escaped the cave-in, and the earthquake's aftershocks still resonated through the ground as we caught our breath in the darkness of the cave. Elara's hand was still clutched in mine, her eyes wide with fear as Kael's vengeful specter began to stir. We had just met Lyra, a mysterious woman who claimed to know the way to the lost city, and she had proposed a deal. We would help her find her sister in exchange for her guidance. As we stood there, the rustling sound grew louder, and I could feel the tension building. Lyra's eyes flicked towards the darkness, and she nodded. "It seems we're not alone," she said, her voice low. I drew my sword, and Elara readied her dagger. Lyra, however, simply stood there, her eyes fixed on the darkness. And then a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a twisted humanoid creature, its body a mass of writhing tendrils and pulsing, bioluminescent growths. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly energy, and it regarded us with a cold, calculating gaze. Lyra took a step back, her eyes wide with fear. "It's a devourer," she whispered. "They're drawn to the vibrations of the earthquake. They think we're prey." The creature began to move towards us, its tendrils writhing like snakes. I raised my sword, ready to defend myself and my companions. But Lyra didn't attack. Instead, she reached into her pack and pulled out a small, glowing crystal. "Wait," she said, her voice urgent. "I think I can calm it down." She held out the crystal, and the devourer's glowing eyes locked onto it. For a moment, the creature seemed to hesitate, its tendrils slowing their movement. And then, to our surprise, it began to change. Its body began to shift and contort, its tendrils relaxing as it regarded the crystal. The bioluminescent growths on its body began to pulse with a softer, more gentle light, and its eyes lost their aggressive glow. Lyra took a step forward, her voice soft and soothing. "It's okay," she said. "We're not going to hurt you. We're just passing through." The devourer regarded us for a moment, and then it nodded its head. It was a strange, almost human-like gesture, and I felt a surge of wonder. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with a mixture of relief and fear. "It's okay," she said. "We can pass through. But we have to be careful. There are more of them down here, and they won't be so easy to calm down." As we continued on our journey, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the strange creatures that inhabited this underground world. And I realized that our quest was not just about stopping the Archon, but also about understanding the secrets of this mysterious world. The air grew warmer and more humid, and I could smell the scent of damp earth and decaying plant life. We walked for hours, the silence broken only by the sound of dripping water and the soft rustling of Lyra's clothes. Finally, we came to a massive underground lake, its surface reflecting the flickering light of the crystals that lined the cavern. Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is it," she said. "This is the lake that leads to the lost city. But we have to be careful. The city is guarded by things that lurk in the water." I looked at Elara and saw a flicker of concern in her eyes. But I also saw determination. We had come this far, and we weren't going to turn back now. As we prepared to set out across the lake, I felt a sense of hope rising up within me. We had just overcome a major obstacle, and we were one step closer to our goal. And I knew that with Lyra's help, we might just have a chance to succeed where we had failed before. But as we pushed off from the shore and began to make our way across the lake, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The water seemed to be moving of its own accord, and I could sense eyes watching us from the depths. And then, just as we were halfway across the lake, I heard it, a low, rumbling sound coming from the depths of the water. It was a sound that seemed to vibrate through every cell in my body, and I knew that we were in for a fight. "What is that?" Elara whispered, her eyes wide with fear. Lyra's face was pale, but she didn't answer. Instead, she simply nodded, her eyes fixed on the water. As the sound grew louder, I realized that we were facing something much bigger than we had anticipated, something that could change the course of our quest forever. But I also knew that we had each other, and that together we could face whatever lay ahead. And with that thought, I felt a surge of determination and hope, and we plunged forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the creature emerged from the depths of the lake, I felt my heart racing with anticipation. It was massive, its body a twisted mass of scales and fins, but I didn't back down. Instead, I stood tall, my sword at the ready. The battle was intense, the creature twisting and turning in the water as it tried to attack us. But we worked together, Lyra using her crystal to calm it down while Elara and I attacked its vulnerable spots. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the creature lay still, its body floating lifelessly in the water. We cheered, our voices echoing off the walls of the cavern. Lyra smiled, her eyes shining with relief. "We did it," she said. "We're one step closer to the lost city." As we continued on our journey, I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. We had overcome yet another obstacle, and we were one step closer to our goal. And I knew that no matter what lay ahead, we would face it together, as a team. We had each other's backs, and we would stop at nothing to achieve our goal. The lost city was within our reach, and I could feel its power calling to me. I knew that we would find the answers we sought there, and that our quest would finally come to an end. But as we approached the city, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The city seemed to be waiting for us, its walls looming large in the distance, and I knew that our greatest challenge was yet to come. We stepped forward, our hearts pounding with anticipation. We were ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that we had each other to rely on. The city gates loomed before us, their entrance dark and foreboding. But I didn't hesitate. Instead, I stepped forward, my sword at the ready. As we entered the city, I felt a sense of wonder and awe. The city was ancient, its buildings twisted and worn. But it was also beautiful, its architecture a testament to the ingenuity and craftsmanship of its people. We walked through the city, our footsteps echoing off the walls. We saw strange creatures and wondrous sights, and I felt my mind expanding with the sheer wonder of it all. And then, finally, we came to the heart of the city, a massive temple, its entrance guarded by two massive stone statues. Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "This is it," she said. "This is the temple of the Ancient Ones. The answers we seek are within." I felt a surge of determination and hope. We had made it. We had finally reached the heart of the city, and we were one step closer to achieving our goal. As we entered the temple, I felt a sense of reverence wash over me. The temple was ancient, its walls lined with intricate carvings and symbols. And then, finally, we came to the inner sanctum, a massive chamber filled with ancient artifacts and mysterious devices. I felt a sense of wonder and awe as I gazed upon the treasures of the Ancient Ones, and I knew that we had finally found what we were looking for. The answers we sought were within our grasp, and I felt a sense of hope and determination rising up within me. We had made it. We had finally achieved our goal. But as we reached out to claim the treasures of the Ancient Ones, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The temple seemed to be watching us, its walls looming large in the distance. And I knew that our greatest challenge was yet to come. But I was ready. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that I had my companions by my side. Together, we would overcome any obstacle, and we would emerge victorious in the end. The treasures of the Ancient Ones were within our grasp, and I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. We had done it. We had finally achieved our goal. And as we stood there, bathed in the glow of the temple's treasures, I knew that our journey had only just begun. We had uncovered a secret, and we had discovered a new world of possibilities. The future was bright, and I felt a sense of hope and determination rising up within me. We had made it, and we would continue to make it, no matter what lay ahead. Previously, the eerie silence of the underground lake still lingered in our ears, and the lifeless body of the massive aquatic creature floated in the water as we caught our breath. Lyra's crystal still pulsed with a gentle light, its power seeming to resonate through the air. We had just escaped the creature's deadly attack, and our relief was palpable. But as we approached the lost city, a strange energy began to emanate from its ancient structures, and I could feel it calling to me like a siren's song. The city's gates loomed before us, their entrance dark and foreboding, and I steeled myself for what lay ahead. As we entered the city, I felt a sense of wonder and awe at the twisted, worn buildings that seemed to hold secrets and stories of their own. And then we came to the heart of the city, a massive temple, its entrance guarded by two massive stone statues. The temple's inner sanctum was a marvel, filled with ancient artifacts and mysterious devices that seemed to hold the key to unlocking the secrets of the relic and the Archon's true intentions. I felt a sense of reverence wash over me as I gazed upon the treasures of the Ancient Ones. But as we reached out to claim the treasures, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. The temple seemed to be watching us, its walls looming large in the distance, and I knew that our greatest challenge was yet to come. Suddenly, the air seemed to vibrate with energy, and the temple's walls began to glow with an otherworldly light. I felt a surge of power emanating from the artifacts, and I knew that we had triggered something. The statues at the temple entrance began to stir, their stone eyes glowing with an eerie light. I drew my sword, ready to defend myself and my companions, but Lyra didn't attack. Instead, she raised her crystal, and the statue's glowing eyes locked onto it. For a moment, the statues seemed to hesitate, their stone bodies frozen in place, and then, to our surprise, they began to speak. "You have reached the heart of the city," one of the statues said, its voice like thunder. "But are you worthy to claim the treasures of the Ancient Ones?" I exchanged a glance with Elara, and I knew that we were about to face a challenge unlike any we had encountered before. "We have come seeking answers," I said, my voice firm. "We seek to understand the secrets of the relic and the Archon's true intentions." The statues regarded us for a moment, their glowing eyes seeming to bore into our souls. And then the second statue spoke. "We will give you the answers you seek," it said. "But first, you must prove your worthiness. We will present you with a trial. If you succeed, the treasures of the Ancient Ones shall be yours. But if you fail, you will never leave this city alive." I felt a surge of determination and hope. We had come this far, and we weren't going to turn back now. I nodded, my sword still at the ready. "We accept your trial," I said. The statues nodded, their glowing eyes seeming to smile. "The trial is one of reflection," the first statue said. "You must face your deepest fears and doubts. Are you prepared to confront the shadows within?" I exchanged a glance with Elara and Lyra, and I knew that we were ready to face whatever lay ahead. We had each other's backs, and we would overcome any obstacle. The statues stepped aside, revealing a large, mirrored surface on the wall. I approached it cautiously, my heart pounding with anticipation. As I gazed into the mirror, I saw a reflection that wasn't my own. It was a darker version of myself, one that was consumed by fear and doubt. I felt a surge of unease, but I knew that I had to confront this shadow. "I am not afraid of you," I said, my voice firm. The shadow began to laugh, its voice like a cold wind. "You are afraid of everything," it said. "You are afraid of failure, of loss, of being alone. You are afraid of the darkness within." I took a step forward, my sword still at the ready. "I am not afraid," I repeated. The shadow began to take shape, its form becoming more solid. I saw my deepest fears and doubts staring back at me, and I knew that I had to face them head-on. But as I looked into the mirror, I saw something else. I saw a glimmer of hope, a spark of determination that seemed to emanate from within. I realized that I wasn't alone, that I had my companions by my side, and with that thought, I felt a surge of courage and confidence. I raised my sword, and the shadow began to dissipate. I turned to Elara and Lyra, and I saw that they had faced their own shadows. We exchanged a glance, and I knew that we had passed the trial. The statues nodded, their glowing eyes seeming to smile. "You have proven your worthiness," the first statue said. "The treasures of the Ancient Ones are yours." As we approached the artifacts, I felt a sense of wonder and awe. We had done it. We had finally achieved our goal. But as we reached out to claim the treasures, I couldn't shake the feeling that our journey was far from over. The temple seemed to be watching us, its walls looming large in the distance, and I knew that our greatest challenge was yet to come. The air seemed to vibrate with energy, and I felt a surge of power emanating from the artifacts. I knew that we had unlocked a secret and that our journey had only just begun. As we stood there, bathed in the glow of the temple's treasures, I felt a sense of hope and determination rising up within me. We had made it, and we would continue to make it, no matter what lay ahead. The future was bright, and I knew that we would face it together as a team. We had each other's backs, and we would overcome any obstacle. The treasures of the Ancient Ones were ours, and I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. We had done it. We had finally achieved our goal, but as we turned to leave the temple, I heard a faint rumbling sound. The ground began to shake, and I knew that we had triggered something. The temple began to collapse, its walls crumbling around us. I grabbed Elara and Lyra, and we ran for our lives. We emerged from the temple, gasping for air. The city was in chaos, its buildings crumbling and burning. I looked at Elara and Lyra, and I knew that we had to get out of there. We had to find a way to stop the Archon, and we had to do it now. The journey ahead would be difficult, but I was ready. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that I had my companions by my side. Together, we would overcome any obstacle, and we would emerge victorious in the end. The treasures of the Ancient Ones were ours, but the real challenge was only just beginning. We had to use our newfound knowledge and power to stop the Archon, and we had to do it before it was too late. The fate of Aetheria hung in the balance, and I knew that we were the only ones who could save it. We had to rise to the challenge, and we had to do it now. Previously, The temple's treasures lay before us, their secrets and power resonating through the air as we stood victorious, having overcome the trial of reflection. But our triumph was short-lived as the temple began to collapse, its walls crumbling around us, and we narrowly escaped with our lives. Now, as we emerged into the chaos of the city, I knew that our journey was far from over. The city's destruction seemed to unfold in slow motion, buildings crumbling and burning as the ground shook beneath our feet. I grabbed Elara and Lyra, pulling them close as we navigated through the rubble-strewn streets. The air was thick with dust, and the sounds of panic and despair filled the air. "We need to get out of here, now!" I shouted above the din, my eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of safety. As we stumbled through the wreckage, I spotted a figure in the distance, running towards us with a look of desperation on their face. It was a young woman, her hair disheveled and her clothes torn, but her eyes locked onto us with a sense of determination. "Please, you have to help me!" she cried, reaching us and grasping Elara's arm. "The Archon soldiers are closing in, and I have information that could help you stop him." I exchanged a glance with Elara and Lyra, and we nodded in unison. We needed all the help we could get, and this woman's information could be the key to our success. "What's your name?" I asked, my voice firm but gentle. "Aria," she replied, her voice trembling. "I'm a member of a secret group that's been working to undermine the Archon's regime. We have evidence of his plans, and I can take you to our hideout, but we have to move, now." Without hesitation, we followed Aria through the winding streets, dodging debris and leaping over chasms as the city continued to crumble around us. We finally reached a hidden entrance, and Aria led us down into a narrow tunnel. The air was musty and dank, but we pressed on, our hearts pounding with anticipation. As we walked, Aria told us about her group and the information they had gathered about the Archon's plans. "We've discovered that Hez seeking to harness the power of the Ancient Ones," she said, her voice low and urgent. "He wants to use it to control the entire realm, and we're the only ones who can stop him." I felt a surge of determination and hope. We had stumbled upon an unexpected ally, and her information could be the key to our success. As we reached the hideout, a makeshift camp filled with rebels and scavengers, I saw a glimmer of hope. We were no longer alone, and together we could make a difference. But as we began to discuss our plan, a loud explosion rocked the tunnel, and the sound of footsteps echoed through the air. The Archon's soldiers had found us. Aria's eyes locked onto mine, and I saw a flash of fear. "We have to get out of here now!" she cried. I drew my sword, ready to defend us once again. But this time we had an advantage. We had Aria and her information. Together, we could face whatever lay ahead. The battle ahead would be fierce, but I was ready. I was ready to fight for Aetheria and for the future. I was ready to face the Archon and to put an end to his tyranny. As we prepared to face the soldiers, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. We had come a long way, and we had grown stronger. We had forged unbreakable bonds, and we had discovered hidden strengths. The journey ahead would be difficult, but I was no longer afraid. I was no longer alone. I had my companions, and I had Aria, and together we would overcome any obstacle. The fate of Aetheria hung in the balance, but I knew that we would rise to the challenge. We would face the Archon, and we would emerge victorious. The treasures of the Ancient Ones were ours, but the real challenge was only just beginning. We had to use our newfound knowledge and power to stop the Archon, and we had to do it before it was too late. With a deep breath, I steeled myself for the battle ahead. We would fight, and we would win. We would save Aetheria, and we would forge a new future, one filled with hope and possibility. The darkness ahead seemed to loom large, but I was no longer afraid. I had my companions, and I had Aria, and together we would light the way. We would face the unknown, and we would emerge stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. The journey ahead would be long and difficult, but I was ready. I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, knowing that I had my companions by my side and that together we would overcome any obstacle. Previously, the temple's treasures lay before us, their secrets and power resonating through the air as we stood victorious, having overcome the trial of reflection. But our triumph was short-lived as the temple began to collapse, its walls crumbling around us, and we narrowly escaped with our lives. Now, as we emerged into the chaos of the city, I knew that our journey was far from over and the stakes had just escalated. As we caught our breath in the makeshift camp, Arya's words still echoed in my mind. "The Archon's soldiers are closing in, and I have information that could help you stop him." But before we could discuss our plan further, a loud explosion rocked the tunnel, and the sound of footsteps echoed through the air. The Archon soldiers had found us. I drew my sword, ready to defend us once again, but this time we had an advantage. We had Arya and her information. Together, we could face whatever lay ahead. The battle ahead would be fierce, but I was ready. I was ready to fight for Aetheria and for the future. I was ready to face the Archon and to put an end to his tyranny. As we prepared to face the soldiers, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. We had come a long way, and we had grown stronger. We had forged unbreakable bonds, and we had discovered hidden strengths. But just as we were about to engage the enemy, Arya grabbed my arm and pulled me back. "Wait, Alex," she whispered urgently. "Therese, something I haven't told you, something that could change everything." I exchanged a wary glance with Elara and Lyra, and we nodded in unison. We needed to know what Arya was hiding. "What is it?" I asked, my voice low and cautious. Arya took a deep breath before speaking. "I'm not just a member of a secret group," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm the daughter of one of the Archon's most trusted advisors. And I have information about his true plan, one that could destroy Aetheria forever." I felt a chill run down my spine. This new revelation raised the stakes even higher. If Arya's father was one of the Archon's most trusted advisors, then she must have access to crucial information. "What do you know?" I asked, my voice firm but gentle. Arya hesitated, looking around nervously. "I know that the Archon is searching for a powerful artifact hidden deep within Aetheria's underworld," she said. "An artifact that could grant him unimaginable power and control over the realm." I exchanged a determined glance with my companions. We had to stop the Archon, no matter what it took. "We need to get to that artifact before the Archon does," I said, my voice firm. "Can you take us to it?" Arya nodded, a look of determination on her face. "I can take you to the entrance of the underworld," she said, "but from there you'll have to navigate the treacherous tunnels and avoid the Archon's soldiers. It's a perilous journey, but I have faith in you. You can do it." I nodded, a sense of hope and determination rising within me. We had stumbled upon an unexpected ally, and her information could be the key to our success. With renewed purpose, we set out on our journey, ready to face whatever lay ahead. We navigated through the winding tunnels, avoiding danger and overcoming obstacles at every turn. As we journeyed deeper into the underworld, the air grew thick with an eerie, pulsating energy. I could feel the power of the artifact calling to me, drawing me closer. But we were not alone. The Archon soldiers were closing in, and we could hear the sound of their footsteps echoing through the tunnels. "We need to move faster," I said, my voice urgent. "We can't let them catch up to us." Arya nodded, her eyes locked onto mine. "I know a shortcut," she said. "Follow me." We followed Arya through the winding tunnels, our hearts pounding with anticipation. As we turned a corner, I saw a glimmer of light in the distance. "What's that?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Arya smiled, a look of hope on her face. "That's the entrance to the artifact's chamber," she said. "We're almost there." But as we approached the entrance, I felt a surge of unease. Something was wrong. The energy emanating from the chamber seemed twisted. "I don't like this," I said, my voice low and cautious. Elara nodded, her eyes locked onto mine. "I sense it too," she said. "Something's not right." But it was too late. We had already entered the chamber, and what we saw took our breath away. The artifact lay before us, its power pulsating with an otherworldly energy. But as we approached it, I saw that it was not alone. A figure stood beside it, a figure I had not expected to see. Kael's vengeful specter stood before us, his eyes blazing with fury. "You fools," he spat, his voice venomous. "You think you can stop the Archon? He will crush you all, and I will be the one to deliver the final blow." I felt a chill run down my spine. Kael's specter was more powerful than ever, and I knew that we had to be careful, but I also knew that we couldn't back down. We had come too far, and we had sacrificed too much. "We're not afraid of you, Kael," I said, my voice firm. "We're here to stop the Archon, and we won't let you or anyone else stand in our way." Kael's specter laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "Well, see about that," he said, and with a wave of his hand, he summoned a blast of energy that sent us flying across the room. As we struggled to get back to our feet, I knew that we had to come up with a new plan. We couldn't take on Kael's specter in a straight-up fight. We needed to use our skills and our wits to outsmart him. And then I remembered something. I remembered the words of the ancient prophecy, the one that spoke of the power of unity and determination. I looked at my companions, and I saw the hope and determination in their eyes. We were in this together, and we would overcome any obstacle. With renewed purpose, we launched a counterattack, using our combined strength and skills to take down Kael's specter. It was a fierce battle, but in the end, we emerged victorious. As Kael's specter dissipated into nothingness, I felt a sense of relief and hope. We had overcome another obstacle, and we were one step closer to stopping the Archon. But as we turned to leave the chamber, I saw something that made my heart sink. A hidden door had swung open, revealing a dark and ominous passage. And on the wall, a message was scrawled in blood: "The Archon awaits." I knew that we had to be prepared for what lay ahead. We had to be ready to face the Archon and to put an end to his tyranny once and for all. With a deep breath, I steeled myself for the battle ahead. We would face the Archon, and we would emerge victorious. The fate of Aetheria hung in the balance, but I knew that we would rise to the challenge. And as we stepped into the unknown, I felt a sense of hope and determination. We would save Aetheria, and we would forge a new future, one filled with hope and possibility.